shortly after I landed here in Johannesburg, land of very special people and the Jacarandas. I pretty quickly made my way over to the Apartheid Museum. One of the things I noticed inside one of the rooms of this incredible museum that juxtaposes tradition with modernity is a little sign that said, "Humanity was born in Africa." All of us, ultimately, are Africans. Grant's absolutely right. This is a homecoming for me in many ways because I am African of birth. I was born in Uganda, and it feels so good to be back home. So. When I was growing up, my father said to me, he actually took out a Sanskrit poem and he translated it into English. And he put it on our refrigerator door so my brother and I could read it every morning before we went off to school. And ladies and gentlemen, I've never forgotten what it said on that refrigerator door. It said, "Spring has passed, summer has gone, and winter is here. And the song that I meant to sing remains unsung, for I have spent my days stringing and unstringing my instrument." As I got older, I asked my dad, I said, "Dad, what was that poem all about?" And my dad looked at me and he said, "Robin, that was a poem written by a man whose heart was filled with regret over a life half lived." He's always getting ready to lead without title. He was always getting ready to play at his best. He was always getting ready to influence people, to inspire people, to stand for excellence. He was always getting ready to present his personal genius to the world, but he got busy being busy. The best word I can say for being here today is I am honored. I'm honored to be here in a room of people who have come here for the reason because you want to show greater leadership regardless of your title. You want to live a bigger life. You want to play a better game. You want to have a bigger impact. You want to create greater value for all of your stakeholders. Because the people in this room are really the people who are going to drive organizations, communities forward in this land that have experienced struggle but amazing opportunity. Few things. First of all, I'm not a motivational speaker. So I don't know what you're expecting, but my goal here today being with you is not to pound on my chest. It's not to get you so excited you dancing on the table in front of your teammates. It's not to shout out ideas from some kind of a mountaintop. The first chapter of my new book says, I'm no guru. I'm no guru. But I'm a leadership thinker who has spent many years of my life working with some of the best companies in the world, whether it's a Microsoft, whether it's a British Petroleum, whether it's a FedEx, whether it's a Nike, whether it's a NASA. So the ideas you're going to hear today come from the real world. The ideas you're going to hear today might be simple. That might sound obvious, but they come from my observations of working with world-class companies, world-class business people, world-class entrepreneurs, which brings me to my second point. The ideas you're going to hear today will be very simple, very simple. So I hope that's not going to disappoint you. But what I've realized is, it makes me think of what Sergey Brin, one of the co-founders of Google, said. He said, success at Google will come from one word: simplicity. Anyone else interested in simplicity, or is it just me? Show of hands here. Simplicity. Leadership is not complicated. Here's something to write down because it's such a simple point that we overlook. Focusing on the fundamentals over and over again will get you to greatness. focusing on the fundamentals. In other words, let me put it this way. Success lies in a masterful consistency around the fundamentals. Success lies in a masterful consistency around the fundamentals. Success lies in a masterful consistency around the fundamentals. Today, over our day together, you're going to get pages of ideas, lots of tactics, lots of learning, lots of ahas. But fundamentally, there's going to be 5 simple ideas I'm going to share with you. 5 core competencies of world-class leaders, world-class organizations. Here's what I invite you to consider. If you go back to your organization, you go back to your community, you go back to your life, and you devote yourself to these 5 simple ideas, over time, you will get to a place where people look at you on your team and they go, she's a genius. People will look at you within your organization and say, how did he become so good at what he is? The best companies focus on their core competencies, on their big bets. The best leaders are clearly very focused on the things that are most critical to where they want to get to. Third point, I would love for today to be a conversation. If I had it up to me, I would meet every single one of you in this room. One of my core philosophies is a very simple one again. It's that every single person who intersects our lives has a story to teach and a lesson to share. Why would I possibly not want to learn it from each and every one of you? We have a big room, lots of people, so I probably won't get a chance to meet each and every one of you. Who knows, maybe we will. But I'd love to have a conversation, because I think ultimately business is a conversation. You lose the conversation, you lose the business. I think family life is nothing more than a conversation. You lose the conversation with your loved ones, you'll lose the family. Personal leadership, it's a conversation. If you lose the conversation with yourself, if you don't spend time alone, you'll lose yourself and you'll be living someone else's life. You'll lose that authenticity. How can we have a conversation in a big room like this? If I say something that speaks to you, if I say something that resonates with you, if I say something that makes eminent sense to you, just applaud, okay? Just applaud so I know I'm on the right track and then I can give you more of what you like. Is that fair enough? Fantastic. Which brings me to another point. You will get from today what you give today. My invitation, so you don't want to be like the person who's sitting in front of the fireplace and his wife walks by and he goes, why is it so cold in here? And she goes, well, you know, you have to light the logs. I am here, I've left my children, I've flown all the way from Canada to be here to create value for you. I promise you I will give you everything I can possibly give in terms of helping you get to your professional and personal mountaintop. I will give you everything I have to give. What I invite you to do is to give me over these next hours until we walk out of here at, I believe, 5 o'clock today. I invite you to give me your best. I guarantee you there will be people who will leave here at the end of today and they will walk back to their organizations and they will transform the way they behave at work. They will transform the way that they think. They will transform the way that they show up as human beings. How many people in this room want to be one of those people who walks out of here at 5 o'clock? Right. So engage with me. Engage with me. This morning as I was up early preparing, I wrote in my journal, the closed arm posture is a self-fulfilling prophecy. What do I mean by that? I mean, if you sit there and cross your arms and say, what does this bald guy in the black shirt possibly have to teach me? I'm a CEO, I'm a managing director, I'm a world-class salesperson, I'm the Picasso of HR, I'm the Bono of accounting. Who does he think, how can he share anything with me that's going to get me to my next level? Guaranteed you'll walk out of here and you'll go, I didn't learn a thing. One of the hallmarks of the best leaders, the best business people that I've observed, they're open. They're open to new ideas. They're open to learning from a taxi driver. They're open to learning from their customers. They're open to feedback. They're open to listening to a teammate regardless of their station within the organization. There's another word for it that is so key here in South Africa, which is humility. On the weekend, I was reading The Star. There was an interesting review of a book celebrating Oliver Tambo. One of the key things they spoke about him was his gentle, quiet, warm-hearted, and humble approach to leadership. He wasn't razzle-dazzle, but he was humble. So I think in many ways, the humblest is the greatest. Today, my invitation, my request, what I encourage you to do is to be open to the ideas. Take lots of notes. It will engage your mind. It will help you learn more. I want you to walk away at the end of the day today with pages and pages of notes that you can share with your teammates, you can share with your loved ones, you can share with your family, you can share with your friends. So engage, have fun. When we do an exercise, get into it, give it 100%. How many people right now here in this room commit to me to showing up at 100% as we move through this day? Let's hear it. Fantastic, fantastic. Another point, we're going to do a lot of experiential exercises. I find one of the best ways to learn is to experience. Would anyone agree with me on that point? Right? Fair. So what we're going to do is we're going to have some amazing, engaging exercises that are going to bring my ideas home to you. When we do the exercises, I invite you to consider that some of your greatest learning will be in those breakout exercises. In other words, a lot of people think that if Robin's not speaking, well, then I'm not learning, and they'll go out and they'll be checking their cell phone, or they'll be out connecting with the office. This is a huge opportunity for you today. You've given me this day of your life. Every one of us can turn off our cell phones for one day to go up to 50,000 feet. And to reflect on how we're leading, on how we're living, on how we're influencing, on how we're thinking, on how we're behaving. So I encourage you, put away your cell phones. And during the interactive exercises, just because I'm not speaking, please remember that's when some of your biggest ahas are going to occur. In those breakout exercises, don't take a break. Engage, talk about the concepts, bring them down to the roots level. How can I improve this idea in my work? How can I bring this concept into my family, into myself, so I can lead without title? Can I tell you a little bit about my story and how I come here before you today? Is that fair? Thank you. I grew up in a town of about 2,000 people, and that's why I'm so honored to be here. My first seminar was 23 people. 21 of those people were my family members. So any audience larger than 21, I'm happy. I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. As a matter of fact, to be very honest with you, as I want to be always, I tend to identify with the underdogs amongst us. I tend to resonate with those who've been knocked down by life. I tend to identify with those who've endured struggle. It's part of the reason why when I'm here in Johannesburg, here in South Africa, there's something I can't really describe, but there's a feeling I have, which is just, it's about leadership, it's about humanity, it's about depth. Does that make sense? There's something here. But I had the gift of two wonderful parents, a very wise mother and a very wise father. And my father shared three things with me when I grew up that profoundly influenced me. Number one, my father said, always be dreaming. You know, we laugh at the dreamers. If I was to say to you one of the hallmarks of leading without title, going back to your organization, regardless of your position, and dreaming, you'd say, well, that's not really relevant to business. And yet, the best in business, regardless of their title, dream. Jonas Salk said, I've had dreams, I've had nightmares. I've overcome my nightmares because of my dreams. Maya Angelou said, if one is lucky, a solitary fantasy can transform 1 million realities. The German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer said, most people take the limits of their vision to be the limits of the world. A few do not. Join them. This world belongs to the dreamers. Bill Gates said, I want to build an organization that feels they're part of a dream. How often do you dream? How much time do you spend with your eyes closed each day saying, here's the value I want to create, here's what needs to improve, here's how I can show leadership, here's how I want my children to remember me when I'm no longer here, here's what I want my colleagues to say at the end of my career. You've heard the expression so many times, if you don't know where you're going, any road is going to get you there. What did Peter Drucker once say? There is nothing so useless as doing efficiently that which should not be done at all. So dream, my dad said. Number two, my dad said, always be learning. I mean, that's why I'm blessed to be here today, because ultimately I'm in a room with a bunch of people who are lifelong learners, who have a lust for learning. When I have dinner with some great business people who are running many $100 million companies, I go over to their house for dinner, and I'm going to mention some names. I'm not doing it to impress you. I'm not doing it to name drop. I'm going to mention names of organizations and people for a simple reason, so you know that these ideas are applicable directly to the real world of business and what you're experiencing in this age of dazzling change but boundless opportunity. And when I go into the homes of some of these people, after dinner, they'll say, Robin, if you have some time, I don't want to show you my art collection. I don't want to show you my car collection. They'll say, Robin, I want to show you my library. One of the great core competencies of the best in business is they're open to learning. They love learning. They're always reading. They're always going to seminars. They're always writing in a journal. They're always getting big ideas. And then the third thing my father said to me when I was growing up, he said, Robin, he said, find a cause that's larger than yourself and donate your life to that cause. How many people would like more passion in their careers? How many people would like more passion? The secret of passion is purpose. In your work, connect to your purpose. Connect to the fact that ultimately leadership is about developing people. Leadership is about developing people. Makes me think of General Electric, one of the great companies in the world. One of the CEOs of General Electric said, we're not in the business of building light bulbs. We're not in the business of building electric motors. You know what he said? He said, ultimately, we're in the business of developing leaders. That's one of the most important points I could possibly share. And Fortune actually did in their October issue a whole piece on leadership. And it was amazing what it said. The title was called Leader Machines. And it said, your competition can copy every advantage you've got, except one. Anyone interested in what that one thing is? That's why the world's best companies are realizing that no matter what business they're in, their real business is building leaders. Ooh, to me, that's poetry. That's poetry. So be learning, but ultimately remember, find that cause that's larger than yourself and donate your life for it.